Whenever a game is revealed, it's always met with a lot of excitement. Until, during the reveal or marketing season, the fans hear and see things that make them skeptical. I have noticed in the last year that there are two different camps emerging around Starfield. One side has no faith in Starfield whatsoever, and the other side is completely convinced that this will be the greatest game of all time. And to be honest, both aren't great. So in this video I will lay out the reasons that created this divide, and I'll give my own opinion at the end. When Starfield was revealed, it came in with a bit of a disadvantage, since the last game from Bethesda Studios was Fallout 76, which wasn't really a fan favorite. If we look at CD Projekt Red, for example, they had the complete opposite. Their last game was The Witcher 3, which was absolutely incredible. So when they revealed their new game Cyberpunk, everyone was beyond hyped. And we all know how that ended. Despite Fallout 76, let's talk about the first real controversy. It took place at the Starfield presentation in June last year, where it was revealed that Starfield's world will consist of
over 1,000 planets.
I'm not going into full detail about this because I already made a video about the subject. So check that out if you want more information about the planets of Starfield. Basically, how it went down: the 1,000 planet announcement was made at the end of the showcase, so there was no additional explanation. And the internet went kinda mad, with people calling it No Man's Skyrim, for example. Another negative people took from the showcase is that the gameplay looked rough, especially the frame rate and the shooting. And seeing that Bethesda's other big game this year, Redfall, is launching locked at 30 FPS on console, people are afraid that Starfield will follow suit. Not to mention that Todd Howard said this in an interview last December.
Traditionally our games are, we okay with 30 frames a second as long as it looks really good and the simulation's running and all of those things. So we'll sacrifice some of that fidelity for the player experience.
Now let's talk delays. In my opinion, every game gets to have one. With 2, it's starting to get a bit worrisome, and with 3 or more, you're in development hell / cyberpunk territory. Like most of you will know, Starfield has had 2, and the circumstances around the second delay were also a bit odd. This has mainly to do with Starfield's marketing in the last few months. Bethesda started a series last year called Constellation Questions, where the community asked questions about a specific subject and they answered a couple of them, with the subject changing every video. But they only made 2 videos, one in October and one in December, which isn't much for a supposed series. Then in January there was an Xbox showcase, but no Starfield. The only thing we got was a tweet that said, "To dedicate the proper amount of time for a Starfield deep dive, a standalone show is in the works." At this point we still thought Starfield was coming out in the first half of this year, so June at the latest. Because of this, the assumption was that the deep dive would be happening around the beginning of March. Instead, we just got 2 months of silence. And if you know anything about video game releases, if the developers are silent for too long, something is going wrong behind the scenes. Then on March 8th, Bethesda dropped a short video that confirmed everyone's worst nightmare. The game was delayed again, and the skepticism kept growing. The weird thing was, they never talked about it being delayed. The whole video was just about how excited they were for Starfield. Also, they revealed that the deep dive will be happening on June 11th. Which makes me think when the original announcement was made on January 11th, they were still planning to release the game in June and to have the showcase in March. And halfway through they decided to delay once more, cause it seems strange to announce this deep dive 5 months in advance. Overall, I think we can say that the main source of the doubt is Bethesda's lack of communication and the marketing mess, with them releasing a couple small videos without many new details, and then turning to months of silence again. In an ideal world, the game would have been ready for release on its original date of November 11th, 2022. Sadly, we don't live in that world, and the game was delayed by 10 months. With such a long delay, there must have been a big development issue. In my opinion, Bethesda should have been more open about it, and should have addressed some of the concerns. I think this would have led to a more positive community in the end. Even though there are mixed feelings right now, personally I don't think we have much to worry about. I'm really happy about everything we've seen so far, and the game will have had 10 extra months of polish. So I'm sure if Bethesda delivers a killer presentation in 1.5 months, and people see the improvements they made since the gameplay from a year ago, everyone will be back on the hype train. That marks the end of the video. I hope this brought a little more context for when you see people randomly shitting on Starfield, and don't forget to subscribe for more Starfield news and discussions. Then I'll see you guys at the next video.